Human trafficking is happening in this state, both trafficking into Montana and trafficking young people out.
Montana's Attorney General admits he's waging a personal war on human trafficking.
Some estimates are that we have more slavery in this world today than at any other time in human history. They estimate that there are as many as 300,000 Americans trafficked for sex in this country alone.
Fox remembers a specific case about two girls at a Missoula mall who got pulled into the life and became victims.
We've had young girls trafficked out of Montana. Those two girls in particular, as I understand it and speaking with law enforcement, over a 3-month period had over 300 encounters each with Johns in a number of different states.
Even though the girls were rescued, it does not necessarily have a happy ending.
That was one of the success stories eventually, that we were able to rescue these girls. Unfortunately, one of them got out of what they call the life. The other girl, they don't know where she is, and she's very much at risk.
Fox is working with state legislators to change the laws in Montana. According to the Polaris Group, Montana has improved in laws against human trafficking, but the state, the group says, needs to work in several areas, such as training for law enforcement and a task force.
My office has initiated human trafficking training for law enforcement. We're doing kind of a roadshow and trying to train as many law enforcement professionals across the state as we can.
Clayton Lakey will spend 5 years in prison for agreeing to pay for sex with what he thought was a juvenile. In the Bakken, Lavelle Durr of Wisconsin was charged with transportation for illegal sexual activity. An FBI agent says Durr has trafficked women into the Bakken and held 3 girls against their will, including keeping one in a dog kennel.
Of all the crime that goes on in the world, I don't think there's anything more heinous that a human can do to another human than what these girls have been through.
We need to set an example. Montanans aren't afraid to stand up and say this isn't right. So let's start here.
Rick and Patty opened their Montana home to victims of human trafficking years ago. And ever since, it's been one victim after another.
As a society, we need to be a place that they can ask for help. One person at a time, we need to be a place.
This had come to our attention several years ago, and we just couldn't turn our backs. Once you hear about this and everything that's entailed in it, you can't sleep at night.
They agreed to do the interview on several conditions, one being we not reveal their location, as the pimps, given the chance, would come looking for their girls and seek retribution. Not just on their girls, but on Rick and Patty as well.
Yeah, it's dangerous, and I don't want to invite evil and trouble, but anybody who wants to try me, I'm here.
When are we as a nation going to stand up and say enough? Enough. Our children are being sold.
I don't want to live a life of cowardice, and if I see something like we're seeing, I'll do what I have to do.
And that's exactly what they're doing out of the kindness of their hearts. Even though they get calls from the Montana Attorney General and the FBI, they say they do not take a dime from the government.
Well, I never wanted to be a foster parent. I thought people who did were crazy. I raised my own kids. I wasn't looking to raise other people's kids. The first girl that we had actually been a typical abduction.
We usually give them time to just rest. They're worn out and they're tired.
For women trying to escape, there is often great difficulty.
A lot of them have been indoctrinated and put onto drugs, but just being off of that and not having that to drown your thoughts, your nightmares, being alone with yourself is huge.
Rick and Patty say they have no secret when it comes to helping these girls, other than lead by example.
I'm a firm believer in if you want to change somebody's mind, live it. So Patty and I try to live the truth, live well. And the girls will see this and go, man, I guess that's still possible.
But for Adrian, it has certainly not been easy.
I'm still dealing with issues and anger and lots of things from my past.
Adrian came to Rick and Patty's about 1.5 years ago, years after a horrific experience with adoption, which she still vividly recalls.
I was adopted, and I started to get raped when I was 5 years old. Later on in life, it just kind of progressed, and at around 11, I started to get sold by my adoptive father and my brother.
Most girls her age would have an average routine, getting ready for school. But for Adrienne, every day was far from routine.
Waking up, when I did get to sleep, going and being sold to many different men during the day. Like, there was pretty much no number.
Like other human trafficking victims, Adrienne felt there was no one to turn to for help, and listen why.
By who? Who were we supposed to trust? I mean, I've had police officers come in and buy me, firemen come in and buy me. The people that we're supposed to go to and expect to get help from, those are the people that came in and knocked on the door.
Finally, at age 15, Adrienne decided to run. She doesn't remember why she picked that time. She says she just had to run.
So basically, I was on my own. I was fending for myself. I was going from house to house to house. And 2.5 years ago, I actually was able to stop running for my life.
Adrienne ended up with Rick and Patty, and since then has been able to get her GED and has a rewarding job helping others. But her past, well, her past still haunts her.
There's days, and you can ask Rick and Patty, there's days where I'm a pain in the ass.
As life gets tough for them as they become adults, and it always gets tough, as we know, there's going to be those moments when, would it be easy for me to go out and earn the rent? You know, I could make this problem go away. I see that as a real problem for survivors.
That's why they're not juvies. That's why they're not criminals. They are truly victims, and they've been robbed of a large part of their childhood. So when these girls come here, it's like starting completely over. No ID, no family, nothing.
Trafficking can trap anyone at any time. So how do you protect yourself and your kids? Stay tuned to Human Trafficking, a battle against modern-day slavery.